Gayle King's interviews in connection with the case against R. Kelly have clearly been single-sided, with her banking towards the anti-Kelly side and showing signs of favoritism. When she returned to studio after the heated interview with Azriel and Joycelyn Savage, both R. Kelly's girlfriends at that time, she did all she could in her capacity to convince the listeners that the two women were not being truthful. She even mentioned R. Kelly being present and eavesdropping in the room behind walls, an allegation she could not prove.
This is more than just rumors. These are decades of allegations against Robert Kelly.
We're not here to talk about decades. We're here to talk about what our parents are doing right now.
Right.
And what they're doing right now is all for money.
Right.
Now, both sets of parents deny ever asking Kelly for money or receiving money from him. You know, as I watched as I was talking to them, because I had talked to the father, there are two very different stories. I'm sure Mr. Clary, if he watches this morning, his head will explode because he has a very different version of what these young women are saying. And his team had told us that R. Kelly would not be in the room. After the interview started, he was around the corner behind them. They couldn't see him. But at points during the conversation, he would cough very loudly like that, so they were aware that he was there.
He wanted them to know that he tried to stop the interview backstage a couple times.
Yeah, a couple of times. Laz, who was taking those amazing photos at you.
Even throughout the interview, which was allegedly sponsored by a one Oprah Winfrey, she kept turning their answers down and forcing in questions that only reflected her own personal opinion of who R. Kelly was and paid no attention to what the two women were saying. At the end of the day, listeners were left wondering what the real truth was, considering Gayle King had her own opinion to sail ahead of the actual statements the two interviewees made. Gayle King did not stop at that. She also hosted the Clary Parents still to discuss R. Kelly's conduct and offered them more than a platform to express their falsehoods and lie to the whole world on how they never knew that R. Kelly and their daughter were having a sexual relationship, and how they had trouble accessing their own daughter to talk to her, alleging that R. Kelly had them locked up in his basement. Again, Gayle King did return to studio and emphasized that the Clary daughter was trapped, another thing to which she had no proof. And throughout the interview, the three people were trying to create a narrative that R. Kelly was a monster, bringing up Azriel's suicide attempts from what they referred to as a bad breakup even before she met R. Kelly. Meanwhile, according to the Clarys, they trusted that they raised their child right and thought she would resist being with him, but again the text messages we now know of say something rather different. They show that these very parents who claim they raised their child right were the very people who wrote suggestive text messages to R. Kelly pretending to be their daughter, messages that asked R. Kelly to be with their daughter sexually, and communications whose intellect made R. Kelly believe the more she was 18. And also, while they pretended throughout the Gayle King interview that R. Kelly knew their daughter's age, the trial transcript says otherwise. It suggests that it was them that asked their daughter to lie to R. Kelly she was 18, and even took the trouble to ensure she acquired an ID that showed she was 18. This is the very same 1D that she presented to the police who came to the hotel where they were with R. Kelly. In fact, there seems to be a possibility that her true age was 18, and the 17 and a half could be a lie the Clary parents made up with their usual aim of extorting the R&B king. Considering the ID was checked and verified by the police, how can we contest its authenticity? It's actually possible that these Clary parents could have faked a birth certificate instead to show that at their time of meeting with R. Kelly she was a few months under 18. Crafty as this pair is, we can't rule out the possibility of forgeries. Even their claims to have signed a sort of agreement to have a so-called Sony agent to work as a chaperone for their daughter are now inconsistent. The information we now have suggests this document was a fake and only intended to avoid self-blame for their own actions of trapping R. Kelly into being with their daughter. Gayle King, who turned herself into a vessel to be used and misused by these people, only because she too had already prejudiced the R&B king with her own judgments, is now living in utter regret for the role she played in causing R. Kelly all the trouble he clearly doesn't deserve. The people she trusted and gave platforms used them effectively to lie to the world, and this not only hurts Gayle King's name, but also that of CBS Chicago, the media company she worked for at that time. As if that was not enough, Gayle King also made sure to give Azriel Clary a second interview after the flip where she played the victim card and acted like the most innocent woman on the planet when she said, "I feel bad that the world has not had the chance to see the nice part of me." She actually made a voice and cried crocodile tears on Gayle's show and lied to the world, saying it's okay to reevaluate your life and change your mind. She made sure to sound like an angel she isn't after she had stolen R. Kelly's money from the Trump Towers with absolutely no regard for his hard work whatsoever.
You know, I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm compassionate. And no one got to see that side of me.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because your dad called me after and said, that is not my daughter. That is not who she is. That is not how she speaks. That is not what she believes. During the trial, you testified that you said I was not honest in the interview that you did with us.
Yeah.
What were you not honest about?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything, yes. You know, before that interview, you know, he had us practice.
Gayle King should indeed be disappointed in herself to have allowed the CBS platform to be used to tell all those lies that are completely inconsistent with what appeared in the trial transcript. She was fooled. She was bamboozled into thinking the Clarys were the angels in the equation, only to learn later that the situation is rather different. Taken for a ride like she was, Gayle King is only right to feel the way she now feels. I am sure her best friend and partner in crime Oprah Winfrey is also somewhere coiling and thinking, what did I sponsor all these interviews for? But then again, everything happens for a good reason. How else would we have known that the Clarys were lying if they never got the chance to lie to us? Perhaps this was all God's plan. According to Dr. Sean Rice, it doesn't matter what Gayle King does, I can guarantee nothing can happen to her because she's got that strong connection to billionaire Oprah Winfrey, who also has so much to do with these interviews Gayle only conducted on her behalf. But as Gayle alone, she has nothing, no real fans, no serious followers. A lot of people were involved in the attempt to take down R. Kelly but will not necessarily go to jail for it. It will be their guilt conscience when he is finally free that will torture them while hell gates await them. According to you and Ard, I can't help but wonder, does Gayle King ever get anything right? Remember Harry and Meghan Markle? And now, in all fairness to Gayle, Avenatti almost had me fooled. Gayle King has proved to be one journalist that will jump onto anything that sounds exciting and that will generate traffic to her channels, but without thinking through or doing the research first to understand who is lying and who is telling the truth. This would still be okay if she wasn't the kind of reporter that is also always eager to give her own opinion, making sure her part of the lies is also told on her show. I hear CNN fished her from CBS. I wonder what they saw in her. They should prepare for an even more downward trend in ratings with her as a staff. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.